Smallpox was the first disease that was eradicated, and it has borne huge dividends because when you eradicate a disease, the benefits are in perpetuity. And not every disease is eradicable, and polio meets that definition that it can be eradicated, and we have seen the evidence of it because we are more than 99% of the way. But why the unprecedented effort is that when the eradication was launched by the World Health Assembly in 1988, an estimated 350,000 children in around 125 countries of the world were getting paralyzed every year by polio. And even though we have not completed the eradication, but already we have, as a result of this internationally coordinated effort, we have prevented 10 million cases of paralysis and then 1.5 million deaths from polio. What the success of polio eradication will do, it will give a great confidence for global public health to achieve larger goals. So the legacy of polio eradication is of course going to be the direct broader benefits of polio, but also the confidence that it gives to global public health that once the international community comes together, large public health goals can be achieved. India was the most polio endemic country for thousands of years. And in that context, because of its size, because of its importance in the world, it was also a very important source of international spread of polio. In addition to, of course, the burden of polio within the country, anywhere between 100 to 150,000 cases of polio were occurring in India alone. So huge burden in the country, but also a source of international spread. And then the conditions, the epidemiologic conditions for polio, it's been there for thousands of years, were so, virus was so entrenched in India that many experts thought that it could not be dislodged from its niche. All the conditions, the population size, birth rate, density, the sanitation conditions, that the climate, all that were very favorable for poliovirus to survive and spread exist in India. And so that's why the experts thought that it could not be done. And it took an extraordinary effort to achieve eradication in India. And so once the program in India was able to stop the transmission of poliovirus, there was no longer an excuse, a biological reason, or a question of feasibility of eradication of polio. It was a matter of putting the finances in, the political will, and absolute hard work, and the kind of planning that you need to reach every child, that has to be in place. So it became an operational excellence rather than to say that it cannot be done biologically. We know that the strategies work, and when implemented rigorously, polio transmission can be stopped even in tough conditions like in India. Then the challenges then become, which are mostly social and political, and that's where I think the program has been challenged more recently, is the remaining endemic countries, Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Nigeria. And the recent international spread we have seen from these endemic countries is also to countries and areas that are in complex emergencies, that are under conflict, where immunization systems have been devastated. There are many unimmunized children, many children who can't be vaccinated even in the presence of poliovirus transmission. In the presence of polio outbreak, we cannot vaccinate children in some of these areas. And that's a very different challenge than saying that we really need to achieve consistently very, very high coverage in very young infants. That was needed in India because the conditions were so different. Here it's a matter of reaching children consistently, and it will get done, but there are social and political and accountability barriers that are on the way. Working in a setting of conflict is not new for the polio eradication program. These are not the only countries that have had conflict. So the program has a long history of being able to operate in insecure and conflict environments. And so if you look at the three remaining endemic countries, Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Nigeria, Afghanistan and Nigeria have made very strong progress over the last couple of years, very strong progress. And both of those countries are in fact on their trajectory, on the path to stopping transmission of polio, stopping their endemic transmission. The nature of conflict, of course, in parts of Nigeria and particularly in parts of Pakistan is it's sort of unprecedented. We've not had attacks on vaccinators, as we've seen in Pakistan, on health workers getting murdered, and the sort of politicization of the polio program. Once you've succeeded, the benefits accrue in perpetuity. So every year, the world saves millions and millions of lives and millions of dollars because they don't have to deal with smallpox anymore. It will be similar with polio, that the huge social and economic cost and the human cost of polio that it exacts, that will go away forever. The most important cause of worldwide paralysis will go away. So there are obviously public health savings, life savings, and then of course financial gains. And then again, it's one of those diseases that can be eradicated. Not all diseases can be eradicated. And polio is an epidemic-prone disease, so the cost of failure is very high. Within 10 years, we could be looking at, if the program fails, again 200,000 cases being reported each year around the world.